Bruchim Aboim B'Shem Hashem. Shem Egan Shiur Torah. Much as Boston, I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's Shiur. All the men here in the main shul, all the Noshim, there's Noshim, everyone joining in to the phone or the streams. Bruchim Aboim. I'd like to remind Olam about Egan Shiur Torah's annual dinner. I'd like to invite all the men to participate. Tomorrow night, Young Israel Avenue K, 29th Street, doors open 7 p.m. Have a chevik in the Habotzas Torah of Egan Shiur Torah worldwide, Habotzas Torah throughout the year. Come and join. This rich program is scheduled. There's a schedule, and there'll be signs up, more detailed information. I'd like to give a shekach to the Lowinger family for sponsoring tonight's Shiur. Ilu Nishmas Mindel Bas Osher, Allah Shalom. We'll go to the yard site tonight. And I'd like to thank the Kimmel family for sponsoring tonight's Shiur. Zecha Nishmas, Rabbi Yoini Zev and Yaakov Koppel, Allah Shalom. To have the great schools of sponsoring a Shiur, call Egan Shiur Torah at 718-851-8651, email ist@yeshiva.com. Tonight we have the covered have with us once again, Rabbi Fishel Schachter Shlita, noted Magid Shiur and Darshan on being there for ourselves, our children, and others. My covered corner of Schachter for tonight's drasha.
Used to have a holder here for the cup, no? That's still in there? Okay. So I was just thinking, who feels bad for President Biden tonight speaking by the convention? I mean, think about this. He has to get up there by a convention that could be the most watched, listened to convention in the entire Kadra Eretz, in the entire planet Earth. And he's going through busy oinais. And he's thinking to himself, just a couple of weeks ago, I was the incumbent president, right? Taking the reins for another 4 years. And he's getting up there and he knows that, I don't know, the 10 million people that are watching are saying, oh, there he is, that Altivus Matamaros Gevarf, and the old one that they all popped out. And he has to smile and say, no, he's so happy that things took this mahalach, and inside his stomach is turning with bush and nabach. How can I feel bad for him? And I have to wonder, was it worth it? Was it worth it for him? Wouldn't he have been better off not being president at all? I don't know. I always wonder, when we have an opportunity, we can make it big, and it doesn't work out. And we're so tzizetz, we're like so depressed about it. And the Rebbeinu Shem says, you know how much bizyainais I saved you from now? Think about it for a moment. Anyway, that was just food for thought. So, now on El Al flights, they have this thing that you could see the zmanim. There's an app and you could see the zmanim. As a matter of fact, you can sit there for 9 hours and watch when the Avodah Shachar is and when the Netzacham is on the plane, which is definitely much more conducive to Shmiras Einayim than Chas v'Shalom watching other things. It's just, so I was sitting there trying not to watch anything. So I had this zmanim open. The person to the left of me had a not such a geschmack gezach open. And the person to the right of me had Ramelech Biederman on the screen, like Ba'omer, for like 2-3 hours in a row. And I'm saying to myself, there never was in the history of the world such a bilbul hamoiches, such a confusing, milchik, fleishik, treif, kosher, all mixed up. And the Rebbeinu Shem knows, right? He knows which world he put us in. Rebbeinu Shem knows good and well which world he put us in. The Shabina Rav said that he came to the Chartkava, the Heilige Chartkava once, and the Chartkava said a vart. And he said the vart stayed with him the entire life. There are I know if you were watching on the camera, you panicked for a second and I'm running away. There are 3 psukim that we say every Shabbos Mincha. Unless, of course, you don't say Tachnan. Then we don't say these 3 psukim by Mincha. But there's not such a big tumult about it. Because 3 psukim, we're okay saying it. Somebody told me that he walked today 10 blocks, a daven episode, a Litvish minyan. I said, why? He wants to get his revenge when they don't say Tachnan today. Like I said, we're very confused, yes. So Shabbos by Mincha, so we say 3 psukim. There's also Shaila Svarda Ashkenaz, which what the order of the psukim is. But at least Nusach Svard says, Tzidkascha kaharei keil mishpetecha toim rabba adam ubehema tashia Hashem. Whether you say the pasuk first, you say the pasuk last, we say. So the Shabina Rav said like this. We think, when we grow up, that our Averos are these big monsters. Now, I don't want to Averos are Averos, this. They have to be dealt with. But we think when we grow up, that Averos are these big, big monsters, as opposed to mitzvahs that are these petty little dots. As if to say, mitzvahs, it's expected for us to do. Versteht sich? You're Yid. Averos. Now again, Averos are Averos. There's a price to pay. Kaloemer HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'atrini, right? Vitrin l'chaya. No question about it. But think about it along these lines. This is how the chart of the Rebbe is touched. The Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't look at it that way. The Rebbeinu Shalom says, mitzvahs? A Yid does mitzvahs? A Yid is sitting over there and he has a choice, some movie, I don't want to say what. And Ramelech Biederman on the other side, like Ba'omer, and for 9 hours he decides to move his head to the right as opposed to the left. Now, whatever nisyonis we all have, it's the same mishmash in our lives. Tzidkascha, said the chart Kivirov. It's Rebbe. Kaharere keil. Mishpatecha, when it comes to mishpat you on your Averos, Averos are Averos. We're responsible for them. The Eibishter knows that Tehoim Rabbah, I put you into a Tehoim, I put you into a world, such nesiyainos, caving in on all sides. And you should know, Adam u'behem, Sai the person that does the mitzvahs, Sai the person that is nichshel into Maisa behema, just want to do tshuva, just try. Tashia Hashem. Tashia Hashem is passive, meaning to say the Yeshua is already in place. The Rebbeinu Shalom is waiting. The Rebbeinu Shalom is looking down at us. Here we have like a very unique thing here in the Boston of Eis Medrash, that the camera is high up. See, wherever I go shiurim, usually a Torah anytime camera is on level, which means either people walk by and you get to see their profile, you get to see they were concerned people will see they're not in a diet. It's the worst possible thing when you walk profile past the camera. Or you have someone that doesn't quite chap, doesn't mean it, but stops pink there to take out tissues, and they will say, no, and he's, okay, I'm just taking out the tissues, right? Or some people come by and they dock nebuch, and you only see the top of their hat coming by. And here, Baruch Hashem, the camera is high up. The Rebbeinu Shalom's camera is high up, not blocked by anything. He sees into our very essence, he sees into our very metzias, more than we could possibly imagine. So me, I'm watching the Zmanim. It's fascinating. It says, it's not so figure out. It's not just telling you when you could go any calendar will tell you when the Fishel Schachter is. I mean, there's different shitas, but okay, when the Menachem Av is. But this computer has to figure out where the airplane is and where the Menachem Av is at that given point. Where the Fishel Schachter is at that given point as you're flying across the Atlantic Ocean over whatever you're flying. You're a moving target. And if you want to know when to daven Shachris, and you want to know whatever else is Negeya, the halachis of Zmanim, it's a service, right? I'm not saying you should look at screens, even Zmanim. I'm just letting you know. So there was a person not sitting, he wasn't one of these three, but he was a person in the next aisle. And it was getting close to the time of the Yom Shachar, I noticed. It says when the Yom Shachar will be on the plane, let's say quarter after, I don't know when it was, quarter after 4 New York time, and it was at 4 o'clock. And they were serving breakfast. And he was saying, quickly. They were like, what happened? No, the breakfast. I'm like, what? So I asked him, what, you okay? I don't know, maybe he takes some medicine that he has to eat right away. I don't know. He says, no, he doesn't eat after the Yom Shachar. And he was scared if they're going to get to his breakfast after the Yom Shachar, he won't be able to eat. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if whoever offered this service, that's what he had in mind. It's like the breakfast you get on a plane anyway, the big breakfast, especially the Mahadran. It's good. I'm saying. Granola and yogurt, it's good. I'm like, in the Shemayim, he knows that granola and yogurt that you mix together and those eggs. I think they're eggs. Not sure. You have to eat it at 4:05 because they're going to have their tikkun. Okay. So the emes is that the Rebbeinu Shalom knows every single meal that we eat, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or supper, exactly when we're eating it. And the Rebbeinu Shalom knows everything else about our lives, exactly when it's happening, including the things you're worried about, including the frustrations, including your challenges, relationship challenges, a munah that we battle with, a world going topsy-turvy. Yeah, Rebbeinu Shalom has your number. He knows exactly who you are. The Mesilas Yesharim says, so we all know, he quotes the Mishnah, right? Olam hazeh, this world is daimel leproizdar, it's the big hallway coming into Olam haba. You cannot get into your Olam haba unless you follow the map of your life. The map of Shimon's life is not going to get Reuven into Olam haba, and the map of Reuven's life is not going to get Shimon into Olam haba. Unless Reuven saves Shimon or helps him so much, or is mechanech him, he takes over some of his chusim, has a cheshbon. But listen to the words of the Mesilas Yesharim. Ein hatachlis megi. You can't get to your Olam haba ela mekoyach kivutz kol ha'imtsoyim, unless every event in your life that takes place, every up, every down, every parking place that someone chaps out, every time you're blocked in a parking place, every frustration in your life, kibbutz kol ha'imtsoyim asher nimsu v'asher shimshu l'kavod. It's all perfect. When you eat breakfast or when you don't eat breakfast. Yes, that machine knows where you are over the Atlantic Ocean, knows what time it is, and the Rebbeinu Shalom knows in our lives where we are, who we are, how we are, and exactly what time it is. And only the map of our lives is our key to Olam haba and our license to exist. You can't believe what my husband, you can't believe what my wife is doing to me. He is so... What if I told you the only reason you're alive is because of that Nisayon? Could be your spouse has the same Nisayon, right? We don't know. What if I told you that? You would say, oh, Baruch Hashem, I have this wife. Baruch Hashem, I have this husband. Obviously within normal range. Why me? Why does this always happen to me? Because that's me. If it didn't always happen to you, then you wouldn't be you. Again, the words of the Mesilas Yesharim. Ein hatachlis megia ela mikoyach kivus kol ha'imtsoyim asher nimsu asher shimshu l'kavod. They're all serving you to get to your purpose. Having said that, Rabbi, say, how have you all been? How was your year? Steipler said you should be careful when you come to something which is once a year, because mitzvah gereris mitzvah. So something you do once a year, if you're zeicher to the mitzvah gereris mitzvah, then you automatically get another year of life. Or else, how else do you have mitzvah gereris mitzvah? So if all the people who are here said, oh no, not that boring shiur again. Okay, I come every year. I don't want to embarrass him. I'll come. So you have a more dikka mitzvah, right? So the Eibusher says, you did the mitzvah now. I'll give you the mitzvah next year when it'll even be more boring, because usually it gets intensified. But you understand what I'm saying. Steipler has had a Simchas Beis HaSheva, and even when he was in his old age, it was hard for him to move. He was Moshe Nefesh himself. I said, a once a year thing, you're not mevater on. Because that's the mitzvah, gereris mitzvah. So thank you all for coming back. And I want to talk a little bit about Chamishasa B'Av. Some of you are saying maybe you need that screen in front of your face. it's not Chamish Asa B'Av anymore. It is 16 days in the month of Av tonight. Is it not? No. Chamish Asa B'Av means from Chamish Asa B'Av and on. Minig of the Minchas Elazar brings it and many others, that yes, from Chamish Asa B'Av and on, you already give yourselves a bracha of a kasiva v'chasim v'taiva. And everyone knows that Chamish Asa B'Av is the day of Shidduchim. I think I want to understand that, and Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach elaborate on it. A wonderful organization, L'Shadech, so they have a beautiful, catchy thing. Think of something, say something. Think of a shidduch, move on it, right? That means from tes, vav, of, and on. Now, I'm not much of a shadchan, I'll tell you the truth. Many, many attempts. I'm like batting 0-0-0-1. One shidduch I did. And that was when both sides asked me to read the shidduch. And even then, I almost blew it. So a lot of times I say, I try. It's not my thing. I tried reading someone a shidduch once. And the person got very angry. He said, that's the shidduch you read me? That's the shidduch you're suggesting? You don't know who we are. If you can suggest such a shidduch. I was so embarrassed. So I stopped. I said it to a shadchan. He said, why did you stop? He says, those are the shidduchim that work. I'm telling you. Most of the shidduchim that go through, the first reaction is, huh? What? No shayches. Okay? We'll soon see if there's a shayches or not. And the same is true not just for shidduchim. Same is true for every experience in life, because the Arizal says that every experience in life is a shidduch. You all know the famous story that Rav Moshe, right, it could be as busy as the Pesach Hadar is, and the old lady came from downstairs every single Friday, knocked on the door, and knocked on the door, and knocked on the door, to ask an emergency shaila. She came to ask the Rav, when is Lechtsinden? And Moshe was always ready with an answer. Could have said to her, tell me, you don't get calendars in the mail? I'll give you some of mine. There's a whole box. Because this Rebbetzin waited a whole week to ask Rav Moshe when Lechtsinden is. Rav Moshe, maybe the busiest person in Klal Yisrael at that time, never gave you the eitzah of buying a calendar. Because at that moment, the Rabbi Shalom is the Shatchan. I always wondered, I wonder if you've had this issue. You know the valet parking guys or mechanics? Why do they have to move the seat out of the way to position for them, make themselves comfortable for the 2 seconds that they're moving the car? Then it takes you 20 minutes to get it straight again. You know what I mean? Like you get into your car, I can't even reach the steering wheel. And you see the parking attendant. You understand why, but like, come on, you're just getting into the car for 2 seconds. Like, why do you have to move the seat? And I was thinking to myself, maybe it's to teach us all. We're so busy making ourselves comfortable in life. It's also just a little ride. Take it easy. When the Rebbeinu Shem keeps adjusting our seats, think of something, say something, applies to everything that goes on in our life. You see someone in shul looking a little bit down, and you go over to him and you say, V'smachsta, v'stitzach, how's everything? Extend him a shalom aleichem. Or sometimes you want to say something to him and you feel he needs his privacy. That's a shidduch. You were a makabel, he was a mashpia, and sometimes it's the other way around. Somebody once came to Reb Chaim Kanievsky, Zechaim Levrach, and he asked him a Moyer de Kashayla. It says, we're compared to the dogim shabiyam, to the fish in the sea. And why are we compared to the fish in the sea? Because the fish is in the sea, has all the water in the world. Yet a drop of water comes down and the fish goes running up with the drop of water. And that's how Yid Nar, when it comes to a new word of Torah, we go up. So this Chochem went, he did an experiment. He has a fish tank. And he took a dropper and he dropped some water. And the fish aren't interested. Yeah, a drop of food, they all come running, water. So he came to ask Reb Chaim the Kasha. So Reb Chaim said, you don't understand. Fish in the fish tank, they feel like they own the world. The world is mine. If you ever look carefully into a fish tank, there's like a fish that becomes boss. The shtickle mafia thing that goes on. I don't know if you notice. they have their corners, don't come into my thing. Es balabus. He owns the world. He thinks the world is his. He's not interested in a drop of water. The fish in the ocean knows he's a pitsy in a woe in an ocean. He says he's not Moshe Gross. He runs after every drop of water. The Gemara says dogim shebeyam, not dogim in your fish tank. In order for us to have a cheshik for life, a cheshik for Torah, we have to realize we are dogim shebeyam. The Rebbeinu Shalom positions us in this big yam. Yes, in the Atlantic Ocean, the Rebbeinu Shalom knows which fish is next to which fish. There's a whole cycle of who eats who. That's the existence of fish. Now, hopefully in our lives, it's not who eats who, but who's there. Rav Gadol Eisner was Mechazik Yidden during the war, off the charts. And he said once during the death marches, he gave up. He can't anymore. And someone who never said a word to him, he was laying on the floor waiting to be shot, because that was the punishment for tarrying. And he said to him, Gadol, life, run! That's the way he said it, just picked himself up and started running. And he heard the shot behind him. It saved his life. He says, to this day, he doesn't know who that person is. Somebody yelled, run. What does it mean to go over to someone and give them a word of chizuk? Just say, I'm here for you. But let's go back to Shidduchim Kipshutai. So you have the last Mishnah in Masechtas Tainus. And the Mishnah says, of course you would think I would turn to the page beforehand, right? Usually, the last time I did this, I brought an Ezekiel Mishnah. So, okay, here. Says the Mishnah. Amar Hashem Gamli Allah Yamim Tayvim LiYisrael. There were no such Yamim Tayvim to Klal Yisrael kechamisha Av ukiyayim Kippurim. Shebehen benois Yerushalayim Yotzes Kamal B'Kli Lavan. White clothes. Everyone wears white. Shu'ulin, borrowed clothing. Why borrowed clothing? Says the Mishnah, not to embarrass those that don't have. That's why borrowed clothing. Do you understand what this means? You got thousands of girls coming out, all in borrowed clothing, and you couldn't come in your own clothes. That's your own clothes? No entrance. Can you imagine a sign by a chasana? Entrance only for those that got their gowns by a gemach. And that's what it was, right? Imagine this rich lady comes, she bought her gown for $35,000, 30, tailor, working on it. She come, no, did you get it from a gemach? No, I'm not a gemach person. Can't come in, right? Only gemach clothing. That's how it is. Think about that for a moment. Come up to Shemayim after 120 years. They're going to say, only those that consider this world a gemach can come in. Right? Those that own their clothing and their world, we'll deal with you later. Right now, stay outside. Here's from Rabbi Wine. He said I once had a similar experience. But he came to a parking lot in Manhattan, not in a very good section, and he parked his car, whatever his car was, his Dodge Dart or whatever it was in those days. And this person pulled up in this very, very fancy sports car. I don't remember the names, and last time I said it, I mispronounced it. Whatever, a real fancy sports car. And his car is worth, I don't know, in those years, $5,000, and the fancy sports car is $150,000. And the parking attendant says, we can't take that car. Our insurance company said, we're not allowed to take those cars. Lamborghini, am I saying it right? Not allowed to take those cars. And the guy said, I can't park on the street. We're not taking those. I can't take the car. He's screaming and crying. And he pulls up in his jalopy, and he goes, that car you can take, and my car you can't? So Rabbi Wine said to me, want to trade? One, we could trade it. Solve the problem, right? But that's what's going to happen after 120 years. 120 years, we get up there, and that's going to be the matziv. When I can't come in with my clothes? No, you can't. And now I'll tell you a secret. Chassidish Svarim saying, when the Gemara says, borrowed clothes is a reference to the guf. The guf is the clothes of the neshama. Life is borrowed. It's borrowed, but we have to take care of it. We're shoyl. A shoyl? Shoyl has one of the custodians, the 4 custodians, right? Shem Rechinam, one who guards something for nothing, one who rents something, one who is paid to guard something, and then there's someone who borrows something. The one who borrows something, we're the most strict with him. A shoyl is chayiv, even on oinus, even on something that happens that is not in his control. So we're responsible for our body. The Rosh Hashanah has big kindness on us. You got to take care of it. Hillel went to the Merchatz every morning, right to the bathhouse. He said, "It's my oirach, it's my guest. It's the least I can do for it is to make sure it's clean and nice and take care of it. You stay over in someone's house before you leave. You make the bed, right? Clean the floor. You want to leave with a good impression." That's how Hillel looked at his body. So a shayel, it's an extremely heavy responsibility. We're a shayel over our body. It's an amazing lease. You lease a car after 3 years, okay, you get a new car. Here's the same car that keeps changing, right? We don't have the same body as a baby. We don't have the same body as a kid. We don't have the same body as a teenager. We don't have the same body as we're middle-aged, unless you're going through a middle-age crisis, you try. But Lamai said it's not the same body. You don't have the same body as a Zayden, Elta Zayden, the golden years. Same body keeps changing. It's amazing. But it's still a lease. But there's certain hetairim, even for a shayel. For example, ba'al of imay, if you borrow something and the bailam are there with you, the halach is your potter if something happens. And there's meisa machas malacha, correct? So the Rebbe Rabbunim says, if a Yid believes Hashem is with him every single moment, he's taka potter, there's less of an achrayas. Now meisa machas malacha, you're right, means normal wear and tear if you use it. But if you don't use it in a normal way, so when they came out over here with their borrowed clothes, the reference is also to life. Our bodies are borrowed. Now the Gemara says that the Bas Melech, the princess, borrowed from the daughter of the Kohen Gadol. And the daughter of the Kohen Gadol borrowed from the daughter of the Skan. The daughter of the Skan borrowed from the daughter of the Meshuach Muhammad. The daughter of the Meshuach Muhammad borrowed from the Kohen Hedyot. So the Ben Yehuda says each one a step down. Step down. And then the Mishnah goes on to say, lower your pedestal a little bit. Lower yourself. You're not that great. Okay? And then the Mishnah goes on to say that they were dancing in the vineyards. Mecholos b'kramim. A geffen, the Rishonim say, by nature draws only from its source. And it'll follow the source, right? A grapevine will go up a tree. It'll follow you anywhere. It's connected to its source. We each have our own source. The Rebbeinu Shem gave us each a purpose in our lives. This is who we are. And they danced in a perfect circle. What is the point of the circle? The Yaris Dvash, the Oyev Yisrael, the Chavetz Chaim, many more or less say the same thing. Different twist to it. But if you're mechaven to the center of the circle, then you in the center are at an exact distance to the circumference of the circle. No one is closer to the wall of the circle, to the outer ring of the circle, than someone else. If, says the Chavetz Chaim, you're in the middle, you're in the epicenter. You know, the Welt says of art, why do we say Yashakayach to the Kaihanim by Duchenim? The answer is they're the only ones that can get people away from the Mizrach wall. You know, some people, they come up to the Mizrach, and some people have to leave. There's no Mizrach, there's no Mariv, there's no Evanon, there's no Shlishi, there's no Shishi, there's no Kavod, there's no Mesader Kedushin, there's no Bracha Achrita in a circle. It's perfect. Everyone is who they are. And as they were dancing in this circle, the Gemara says, Kol echad mara be'etzboi, everyone showed with their finger. And they said, Zeh Hashem kavinu loi. What does that mean? Here you have a bunch of people in a circle. Bunch of people in a circle. And everyone is different. One person is the Kohen Gadol, one person is the president, one person is becoming president, one person is on the way out. One person is a shoemaker and one person is an accountant. One person is a movie actor and the other person is he cleans this in between the seats after the movie's over. And everyone is in this circle. And everyone says, Rabbeinu Shalom, I accept my lot. I am who I am supposed to be. And the Rabbeinu Shalom looks around to every single person and says, you are chashiv. They say, Bacher, Sana Einecha, lift your eyes. Lift your eyes? The Gemara says that the girls all dressed in white, and they came in this circle, right? I think I said this joke one too many times, that the little boy comes to a wedding and says, why is the Kala dressed in white? White is Mechilas Avonis. White, the Maral says, is the natural color of the world. White is Simcha. And the kid asks, why is the Chassan dressed in black then, okay? They say, Bachar, Sana Einecha, lift your eyes. I don't understand something. The Gemara says very clearly, Misha ein laisha, whoever doesn't have a wife, nifna l'sham, should come there and look for a wife. So what do you mean, Bachar, pick up your eyes? If he's not picking up his eyes, that's what he came for, to look for a wife. Like what? Why do they have to tell him? So I once heard a good vart. No, the Bachar has to come to hear what the girls are saying. And if he feels that there's takatachlis, then he lifts his eyes. The Bachar that comes to look, which one? We're not talking to you. You don't belong here. It's only the Bachar Sana Einecha. So the Welt says, this is a repeat, yes, but the Welt says that Chumash Devarim is the Yesod of Shatchanis. Because Devarim is, you speak to the Shatchan, you call him, nothing is happening. There's Chanan, you start begging, please, answer my calls. Ekev, finally, you get an answer. Hey, we'll see, I don't know. But what about Shoiftim? We have to judge. We heard in third grade, kid was outside in the hall, and I'm not sure, this is for me, that's how it goes. And finally, Kiseitze. Finally, Kiseitze, the couple leaves, Kisave, they come together. If Nitzavim, each one is like firm in their position, Vayelech, they can go home. It's not going to last. If Hazinu, each one is listening to the other one, then Bezayse Bracha. Right? See your purpose in life. So there's an old mashal, Rabbi say, that a ram, not the truck, a ram isn't a ram, and a frog, and a mouse, and a crow all got together, and they formed Rado. Instead of NATO, Rado. They said, we're all going to stick with each other, and if anything happens to anyone, we're all going to defend each other. Seems like a strange, combination, but a ram, a frog, a mouse, and a crow. The ram is the most powerful, majestic animal, charging through the fields, and suddenly he realizes he is caught in a trap. And the Chevra see that the ram is not coming home. So the crow goes up and does a surveillance flight, a natural drone. And the crow comes back and says, Tzuris v'abarg, I'm telling you, the ram is caught in someone's trap. The ram is caught in someone's trap. What's going to be? And the mouse goes and starts chewing away at the trap until snap, the ram breaks free. So the trapper is really angry. He says, oh, it's those guys again. Now they have a pact between each other. So he grabs the frog. He wants to take Nakama on the frog. So the ram comes charging toward him. He says, oh, this is my second chance to grab the ram. Forget the frog. But the ram knew what he was doing was just a diversion, turns around and runs and races back into the thing. That's the mashal. So I want to ask you something. If I were to tell you there's a shidduch between a ram, a frog, a mouse, and a crow, what shayches? And let's say someone says, me and my wife, we have no shayches to each other. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. Me and my boss, me and my friend, me and my chavrusa, no shayches. A ram, a frog, a mouse, a crow. But the Rebbeinu Shalom put you together. That's the shidduch. And if I told you that in this particular story, only the mouse could have saved the ram, only the crow could have found them, and only the ram could have saved the frog. In your life, maybe I feel like, oh no, it was such a mistake. Why did I marry her? Why did I marry him? Why? Why is this my lot to be a worker over here? I tried to invest in my own business, it didn't go. My kids are so difficult. My neighbors can shh. You know, the Welt says, why is Sukkot man simchaseinu? Because you hear what's going on by someone else. You say, oh, okay, I thought it was just in my house. Right? Outside, you hear what's going on by someone else's table. You say, nish gefährlich. The Kiddush HaSiyan, the Baba V'Rav, Hashem Yakim Damai, is dealing with a Shalom Bayis issue. So he told her a school of Shalom Bayis is, in those days there was something called a Lakshan Breit. A Lakshan Breit was a piece of wood, and they made a Lakshan on it. They made their own Lakshan, believe it or not. But it was tough to clean. So he told the woman, you want Shalom Bayis? Clean 3 Lakshan Breitlach, 3 of these Lakshan boards, noodle boards, 3 Thursday nights in a row, or 3 Friday afternoons in a row. So they were sure this is an Inyan al-Pi Kabbalah. Lakshan is the same. Oisi is mechuven to the Shem Atzila, Shem Avaya. The gematria of Lakshan is the same as the Meiser. There must be some side in Kabbalah. But the lady did it. She banged on the door. She's crying. She's desperate. This is the last chance to save her marriage. And they come out and they say, no, what do you want? He says, the Rebbe told me I should wash your Luxon board. Okay, you want to wash my Luxon board? No problem. And she does it for 3 nights in a row, and they have such perfect shalom bayis afterwards. They say, what is the side of the Luxon board? He says, the side is you see what's going on in someone else's house Thursday night and Friday night, and you see by us it's not so bad. That's the side. That's the side. So with the Inyan of Chamishas B'Av, why Chamishas B'Av? So the Gemara has, there's no such other thing. The Meshgiach used to say, there's no such other thing where there are so many reasons why it's Chamishas B'Av. So he gave a mashal. The kid comes to Cheder. The Rebbe says, why are you late? Father had a flat tire, and also had a stomachache, and also the elevator got stuck, and also there was a traffic blockage, and also there was an oil spill, and also there was go to the principal, okay? Too many excuses. But they're good excuses, but too many good excuses. If the Gemara has so many reasons, there must be something else behind it. Something else behind it. As the story goes, this Israeli reservist shows up late. The commander says, where were you? He said, I have no way of getting here. I was waiting for a tramp. I hired a donkey in the middle. The donkey stopped and couldn't get it to a mule. And it stopped, couldn't get it to move. Looks at him like, liar with you. Okay, get in. Next day, why are you late? I got no way of getting here. I was on a camel. And in the middle, the camel tripped. I couldn't get off, I couldn't get on. He's a liar. Get in, okay. Next person, why are you late? So I had no choice. I came on this scooter, and one of the wheels came off. And I was just going around in circles and circles. I was like, get in. And the next person came and he said, I'm warning you. I don't want to hear about donkeys. I don't want to hear about mules. I don't want to hear about scooters. I don't want to hear about, he goes, no, I was in a Jeep. So why are you so late? You know what it's like being stuck behind a camel and a donkey and a scooter? I get it. So the Gemara says that there's a bunch of different reasons for Chamishas B'Av. And the pendulum swings very, very wide. What is the simcha of Chamishas B'Av? There's one sheet in the Gemara, it's the day, Rabbi Yehuda Bashmul says it's the day that the Shvatim were allowed, they could only marry intra-shavit, and not one shaved was allowed to marry another shaved. Another sheet, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Nachman says there was a time they asked taking wives from Shavit Binyamin, and now they could take wives from Shavit Binyamin. Another Shita says it's the day that the Mesei Midbar stopped dying. Every Tisha B'Av they dug a hole and they went in and they waited to see if they're going to wake up in the morning. When they woke up in the morning, and some didn't wake up in the morning. But this day, everyone woke up. They said maybe it's not Tisha B'Av, maybe there's a mistake in the calendar. They waited for Chamishas B'Av. They saw the full moon. They knew the Gzeira became bottle. Another Shita Ula says it's the day that Hoshea, the king, was mevatel the shoymrim that Yeravim ben Avat put up so no one can go be oile regel. Hoshea wasn't this big tzaddik, but he was better than Yeravim. He gave you a choice. You want to be oile regel, or you want to come to the Avodah Zarah. I don't force it. You want to watch Melech Binamin, or you want to watch the movie. And he gave you a choice. Another Shita, the Shita of Rav Masna is the Haruge Beitar. Beitar was this huge revolt, a 3-year revolt, backed by Rabbi Akiva against the Romans, which almost won. The plans were there to rebuild the third Beis HaMikdash. Then the Romans, whatever the Gemara says, Bar Kaziva and so on. So it was a terrible tragedy. A guzm of people were murdered, and the Romans ordered their bodies to be left laying on the ground. And for many, many years, that's the way it was. And then they were given permission on Chamishas B'Av to be buried, and a nest happened. None of the bodies decayed, and that's how we make the bracha of Atayv V'Meitav, Atayv Shelo Yisriach, V'Meitav Shenitnu L'Kvura. They were given permission, and indeed, many Chamishas B'Av make a Atayv V'Meitav. So Atayv V'Meitav is a question if you can plan a Atayv V'Meitav, because if you're sitting l'mashal by a table, and someone brings in a better wine than you had, unexpected, then you can make a Atayv V'Meitav. So Shal, if you know that the wine is coming, there's a little different shittas about that. I once saw a sign, we're getting together tonight, 9 o'clock there's going to be a Suda, at 10 o'clock there's going to be spontaneous dancing. We're going to break into a dance. Some people know what's going to happen on their own. So the Mashgiach said, Chamishas B'Av, something happens in the Bria. The Bria is recreated. There's another sheet in the Gemara that's when the sun isn't as strong. It's not mamish as hot. You're not mamish schmelzing. You can't fry eggs anymore on the city streets. It starts getting a little bit cooler, a drop. And that's the day they no longer were able to go out and chop wood for the Mizbeach, so they had more time to learn. Kedushas Levi says that's in the Chama, Umas Olam compared to the Chama. It's the day. So all these reasons is because that's not the real reason. From Chamishas B'Av, inherently, something changes in the Bria. And because something changes in the Bria, therefore all these things happen. Everyone interpreted according to their way. Remember a while ago there was an earthquake in New York? Remember that? That's when we thought we had problems, right? So I was in my car. I know some of you heard this a lot already, but I was in my car when my Eniklach, it was a Friday afternoon. Also the car's boing, boing, jumping up and down. I turned around, I gave my Eniklach a real, would everyone please stop jumping? Then I got a desperate call from my wife. She told me the washing machine is going crazy. The whole house is shaking. Somebody else called me that he said he just called Hatzalah. He thinks he's fainting. The whole house is shaking. I said, wait a second. I met someone in the mikveh. He told me, I told my wife the raccoons came back in the roof. The whole house. I said, wait a second. I said, there was an earthquake because the city then gave you this blitz that there's an earthquake like 6 days after it happened, like a couple of hours after it happened. That's what it is, right? So it was true. All these people, then I took my Eniklach again later on, and again the car was jumping, so I realized I was right. It was the Eniklach. It wasn't the earthquake. But anyway, the point is that everyone is right. There was an earthquake, each felt it. Each one felt it according to his madrega. Something happens on Chamishas B'Av. What happens on Chamishas B'Av? And the answer is that for all practical purposes, Tisha B'Av is the end of the year. From Rosh Hashanah, we try so hard that this is the year of Geula. Comes Tisha B'Av, and we come to the stark reality that the Geula has not come yet. And what does that mean? It means that we still have a mission, and the mission wasn't accomplished. So we reset, and we start again. And that's the connection from Chamishas B'Av till Yom Kippur. The two are inherently connected. Mochel B'Kramim, a lashon of Mechila. Yom Kippur is connected to Shiduchim. Ben Yoda has a whole mahal. There's a famous story by the Chassam Sofer. It was by the Sudas HaMafsekes Erev Yom Kippur. He called in his Gabi. The Chassam Sofer said, I just had a flash about a certain Shidduch, a Yasam and a Yisoima. Go talk to them. So the Gabi said, sure, Matzah Yom Kippur, go talk to them now. So he went, and the Chassan said, if the Rebbe reads the Shidduch, I'm game, but how am I going to live? I can't be masking. Came back to the Chassam Sofer says, I'm going to start putting together money, get me a list of Gevirim, I need to talk to them. He says, Rebbe, you got to go to Kol Nidre. Then the girl had her Sveikas, the Chassam Sofer says he wants to speak to her. Anyway, they agreed that they're going to become Chassan Kala, and the Chassam Sofer came in late for Kol Nidre, and believe it or not, the Gaba, you would think ultimate chutzpah, he's talking to the Chassam Sofer, right? And he points to the clock. I doubt that it was digital, but he pointed to the clock and said, no. Like, why are you late? So here's two things. On the way coming to shul, the Gabbai was like, why? And the Chassam Sofer says, I needed this chus to come into Yom Kippur. I needed this chus to come into Yom Kippur. And when the Gabbai, in ultimate chutzpah with a capital C, my manal used to say, pointed to the clock, that it's late for Kol Nidre, the Chassam Sofer said he's the Poisek Hadar, and until he starts saying Kol Nidre, Yom Kippur doesn't start. You didn't miss anything. Wait a second. 2 seconds ago you said that you needed this chus. If you didn't do this shidduch, you couldn't have come into Yom Kippur, and then you're saying, what? That you're the Poisek Hadar, and Yom Kippur doesn't start till you come? Isn't that a stira? And the answer is no. What the Chassam Sofer teaches us is exactly what we're saying. I have a role. The tailor has a role. The garbage man has a role. The executive director has a role. The principal has a role. The Rebbe has a role. The housewife has a role. Everyone has a role. The roles change. I felt I didn't do enough. I wanted one more shidduch. I want to be part of saying to the Rebbeinu Shalom, I know the world is going to move on. And I thank you for making me a shliach to be part of it. That's what the Chassam Sofer said. Yeah, it's not a stira. If I wouldn't have done that shidduch, I felt like I can't come into Yom Kippur. He knew he's the Poisek Hadar. But he didn't believe being the Paisik Adar makes me any more chashiv than Yankel the water carrier, because we're each doing what we're supposed to do. We are all in the middle of the circle. That's who we are. The Chassam Sofer himself tried to be a tailor. He did not want to be a Rav. The Chassam Sofer, I want to get into a long story, but Menachem Adler was the great Makubal, and there were maskilim where Imam was chapping them in the most horrible way, and Menachem Adler pulled out a shofar and opened the Aron Kodesh, and there was a chassan, there was some kind of a bachelor party, and the chassan fell out the window, and they attributed it to the Menachem Adler and koiches of Kabbalah, Maisius that he used. The father of the chassan ran to the police. He said, Menachem Adler killed my son with a shofar. And the police said, the chief of police said he hit him on the head with it. And he said, no, he blew the shofar and my son fell out of a window. So the policeman said, well, I'm scared to arrest him. What if he blows the shofar and I fly out of a window, right? But the people knew better. And Menachem Adler had to leave town because of the controversy. He heard the story, and the Skolli Rebbe said he heard it Ishme Piyish. The Chassam Sofer had to, Menachem Adler left town, and he dispersed his Talmidim. And Chassam Sofer was so hurt, he said, no, your job is not to be on your own. And he was off on his own, and he decided, he saw what Menachem Adler went through, and he said, I don't want to be a Rav, I just want to sit and learn, I want to have a yeshiva with Talmidim, and that's it. And when they started reading him Shidduchim, he said, if somebody wants to support me, I don't plan on being a Rav or Rosh Yeshiva, Magid, or Mashgiach, just telling you, I want to be able to sit and learn. Maybe I'll be a Rebbe of Talmidim, that's it. And there was a person that came along and said, sure, no problem. And he was going to agree to the Shidduch, and he came to this future, possible, potential father-in-law's shver. He heard him whispering, the future Rav of our town. I thought he said, once he gets married, he's in my net, you know. He'll need a mouse to open the net. Some Sefer heard that, he ran off into the woods in the middle of Shabbos, disappeared. It was pretty embarrassing. They said to me, your son was not even married, he already ran away from you. So afterwards, some Sefer said, I'm not listening to anything, because I was almost fooled. And there was a Yid, Reb Hirsch Yarvitz. Reb Hirsch Yarvitz had a sister. Reb Hirsch Yarvitz was a tremendous Baal Tzedakah. Tremendous, big Malmach Nesoyrach. He was known for he was an Ish Emes. Everyone knew that his handshake is worth 1,000 signatures. And Reb Hirsch Yarvitz came to the Chassam Sofer. He said, marry my sister, I promise you. And everyone knew he was a trusted person. He was an Ish Neman. So he agreed. And he became Chassan Kala. He didn't mention a few things, like his sister was once married, that she had a heart condition. It was a side. And Chassam Sofer didn't even know about it. And he came back to his Rebbe for Rosh Hashanah, and then Menachem Adler said, what'd you do? You do such a shidduch. He said, you know she's a lot older than you? Do you know that she was once married? Do you know that? He said, no. So Menachem Adler said, break the shidduch. You were fooled. He said, Rebbe, if she has a heart condition, I can't do it to her. What if she dies? I can't take a chance. So the Chassam Sofer said he's going ahead with the shidduch, and Menachem Adler finally agreed. And then they were going to send the Chassam Sofer out of Germany because he came from Germany. They were going to send him out of Austria. It was a whole story, and he said that she couldn't leave, so he couldn't stay. She couldn't leave, so they were forced to be separated. Then at the end, they got permission for her to leave with him. They said that I can't come home with her, and no one's going to support me. That was like the. But he still wasn't sure if he should break the shidduch. So he wrote a letter to Menachem Adler, and the letter didn't come back. Not yes, not no. The reason the letter didn't come back because Menachem Adler wrote, break the shidduch. And he was so scared to send it with the mail because he wanted to make sure it's going to get it. He sent it with a shliach. Mensch, where does it go? Mensch tracht and Gott lacht. When it comes to shidduchim, the Eibishter shows us that he runs the world. And that shliach was so excited that Menachem Adler trusted him. I don't know exactly what happened, but he stopped to have a l'chaim, or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5. And he wound up showing up right after the chuppah. Right after the chuppah. And he came running and, stop, I have the letter! Pony Express, boom, into the Chassan hall with the horse. Photographers had a hard time, they weren't ready for it. Back upon him, Menachem Adler read the letter right after the chuppah. The Rebbe said, don't marry her. He just put the letter in his pocket. He said, if Min HaShemayim, and she said in the Yichud room, what did it say in that letter? So he knew he couldn't lie to her. He said, the Eibishter said we should get married. And that's why the letter came a second after the chuppah. Okay, so now Reb Menachem Adler, and the letter came from the king that he could stay. He's married to her. It was the best years of the Chassam Sofer's life. He had a yeshiva, no El Parnasa, no Rav. Reb Hirsch Yarvitz, true to his word, supports him. The Rebbe had different plans. Shidduchim are constantly happening. A shidduch is an ongoing process. Every day you need new siyata d'shmaya. I had a Rabbi Fishel Schachter, once came into the room, before he opened the doorknob, he said, Rebbe, what? He says, davening for shalom bayis. I said, Rebbe, you're married 70 years. Because every day I daven for shalom bayis. That's why. He said, every day you need new siyata d'shmaya. So he, the Pirshei Arvid started losing his money. But he didn't want to tell some cipher about it. It got to the point he was selling his personal items just to be able to support the Cipher in his yeshiva. And then the day came that he says to his wife by Kiddush, what happened to your Shabbos? She had like a special ornament. Where is it? She started to cry. Then he said, a bunch of things fell into place. Pirsh didn't have a silver stick. He had a wooden stick. He said he lost it. He gave it to the silversmith. So he said to her, don't worry. He said, how are we going to live? So some Cipher said, I have to become a Rav. But you only married me not to become a Rav. I had to do what I thought I wanted to do. And my job is to say that the Rebbeinu Shem says, okay, I want you to marry her. Now I'm going to tell you what I want from you. And he said he was going to take the next position of Rav, and there was a whole truth that came from a distant city, while the people in this town wanted to give him the job that he was in. He also tried to become a tailor in the middle, but he wasn't very successful in his tailoring efforts, as that would be the Ashgacha. And he became the Heilig Sam Sefer. And he became the greatest Paisik. He became the one that Kol Nidri doesn't start. But guess what? This is my role in life. I went through the ups and downs. She eventually died and never had children. He remarried Rabbi Kivega's daughter. The life they had together was a life that was meant for them to have together. When you're in the center of the circle, it doesn't make a difference who you are, Rabbi Shalom. No one is any closer than anyone else. If some Sefer didn't consider himself more chashuv than anyone, if he doesn't do this shidduch, what is he going to? And I want to conclude with this story. I heard it today from Ramelech Biramin. It's a tough story. The Kamek Rav lost a child, Rachmana litzlan Hashem Yishmereinu, and he had a hard time, a very, very hard time. Vayemoin lehisnachem. Very hard for him to have a nacham. Really tough. Rabbi Fishel Schachter lost, I think, 18 children, Rachmana litzlan. And he called him, wanted to be mechazik him. So you know that doesn't work. I had it worse than you, right? And I'm good, so it doesn't work. Rabbi Fishel Schachter didn't tell him that. He said, I want to tell you where I got my chizik from. My Rebbe, Reb Mendel of Rimanov, had a chassid. He was in his 50s and he had no children. And there once was a story before Pesach in Reb Mendel of Rimanov's house. There was zilch. There was nothing, but really nothing. And he came before Pesach and he brought food and eggs and wine and matzahs and also a nice little pouch of money. And Mendel of Rimanov said, you brought Simchas HaChaim to me. You're going to have a child this year. And he had a girl. Imagine the simcha, this girl was born after all those years. She was the cutest thing, and her parents loved her like the apple of their eye. She came a little older, they did a shidduch with her. They started the shidduch, and the parents said they'd like to finish the shidduch. The actual teller brechen should be by Reb Mendel of Rimanov. And they traveled, and right outside of Rimanov, she said, Roishi, Roishi, my head hurts, my head hurts. They called the doctor, whether she had an aneurysm or something, and she died. She died. When they came to Rimanov, everyone said, Mazel Tov, we're here for this telebrechen. And she took out the l'chaim, and she took out the cake. And she said, standing at the door of the Beis Medrash, I want to tell you all a story. Hello, lady, this is Rimanov. You don't come here and give drushes like what? They let her speak. She said, I came here to finish a shidduch. I thought it was a good shidduch. And on the way here, a different shadchan came to me. And the other shadchan said, what are you doing? I have so much of a better shidduch for you. You want to do a shidduch with a yalud isha, with a mortal? It's going to cost you so much money. There are ups and downs. Do a shidduch. Shemayim. Won't cost you anything. Just the shrouds. A dira. They give you a free dira. Olam haba and shemayim. You can't believe what the Gajir is going to be a kala. You can't imagine the simcha shemayim. I said, the second shadchan, just have to accept what he says, she said. So it's a telebrechen, just a different kind of a telebrechen, she said. It was a sudas havra / telebrechen. In the middle, Reb Mendel of Rimanov said, he never saw someone in a high madrega as this woman. And Mendel Rimanov told them that he promises them a Ben Zachar. They should please do a shidduch for Yelud Isha, he said. Do a shidduch. It's very lofty what she said, but the Rebbeinu Shalom Menachem Av wants us to read shidduch. How does that work? A boy yarn kodim yisiris avlad machrizim bas playing the play. Everyone needs us to read a shidduch. If the Chassam Sofer says he needs this chus coming into Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, what are we to say? Tell me, was there any other time that we needed more schusim than we need now? We started the Democratic Convention to think that in front of the Democratic Convention right now in Chicago, there are people holding Hamas flags. What does that mean? At least the Holocaust, they denied that. They're not denying it. They're saying, yeah. And politicians are pandering. Is there any time that we need schusim? So what's our schus? And the answer is our schus isn't to conquer the world. Our schus is to be where we are in the middle of the circle. Our schus is to read a shidduch. What does reading a shidduch have to do with anything? Because reading a shidduch means, Rabbeinu Shalom, I know we're going to get through this. I know there's going to be a next generation. I know there are going to be generations till Mashiach comes. You can make the shidduch on your own. If a shidduch has to be, it's going to be. You're letting me be part of it. So we have the schus of a forward thrust. So we have the schus of moving on. So I beg of you, Rabbi, say, try to read shidduchim. Try to understand also that whatever goes on in our life is a shidduch. And if we're moiser nefesh ourselves to do shidduchim for Yelud Isha, then the Eibishter will give us the opportunity to marry off our children to a Yelud Isha. And that big shidduch that she was talking about, that will leave for the time of Tchiyas and Eisim and the Gula Shleima as Hashem Yisbarach. I want to mention also talk about Shidduchim, what Torah, what Irgun Shiur Torah does, just to echo the words that tomorrow night is the dinner. Mashgiach, Rabbi Bol just told me, Mashgiach Tzlav said, one of the beautiful things about Irgun Shiur Torah is that it's Ma'ached Klal Yisrael. It's a Torah for everybody, every kind of a Yid, in all different places. And if there's any time that we need this shidduch of being ma'achid, one person to another, through the Kiddushas of Torah, as the Shem Yisrach, let's chap around this chus.
Shem Irgen Shir Torah, Moses Boston, I have to give a big Yasher Koyach, so Schachter for tonight's drasha. I have to give a big Yasher Koyach to the Lowinger family for sponsoring tonight's shir, Lido Nishmas, Isha, Mindelbas, Osha, Shalom, tonight is the yard site. I'd also like to thank the Kimmel family for sponsoring tonight's shir, Lezecha Nishmas, Rabbi Yoina Zeb and Rabbi Yaakov Koppel, all of our Shalom. Rabbi I'd like to remind Olam and invite the men to the annual dinner of Irgun Shiur Torah tomorrow night, Be'ez Hashem, on Yisrael Avenue K at 7 p.m. Come, be mechazik the harbotzas Torah of Irgun Shiur Torah worldwide throughout the year by taking part in the dinner, be mishtatef, by guf and b'mammon, and avcheling the harbotzas Torah. Ashikar to everyone for coming. Reb Chananya ben Akash Yemar Tzakadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakis as Yisrael Aviga Hibbam Tayah Mitzvah Shenem Al Lenoi Chofetz Amal Tzidka Yagdul Torah V'Yadeh.